Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rini, this is the Enchanted Planner, and today we are talking about my top must-have tools for planning for 2022. These are my favorites, and what I would recommend that, that people don't need all of them, but they all have a certain specific use in my planning journey and toolbox. So I'm going to start off with the crocodile. Now, the crocodile is a fantastic tool. He's a little expensive, but he's well worth his weight in gold for the amount of things he can do. I use him now to punch laminated things that I'm going to put into my planner because I actually damaged my original Happy Planner punch. It's okay with paper most of the time, but I think I screwed up one of the springs punching laminated things. So I won't punch anything more than paper really through my newest Happy Planner punch, which is this one. So this is where this guy comes in handy. I use him to punch through the spine when I cover it up with stickers. I use him to punch laminated things. He can also punch cardboard. He can punch leather. Apparently, I've never tried it, but he goes through. He's like a big bite. He's pretty cool little tool. What happens is it fills up in this little pocket here, and then you have to clean him out, which looks like I'm getting close to having to clean him out again. But he is a wonderful tool to have in the toolbox. I picked this one up at Michael's with a 40% off coupon, but I will link all of this stuff in the description as well if you would like to check it out. So that's my number one on this list. These are in no particular order, by the way. My next one is my Happy Planner punch. The only thing I'm kind of disappointed in is that the writing is wearing off of this because, oops, I do not have that problem with this one. But it's different. Like you can tell by the feel of it. It's very different the way it's been laid on. Otherwise, I love this punch. I use it all the time, and I have the option. It's not very often I ever punch anything that's big because I don't use a big planner, but it is nice to have the option should I ever decide I do want to have a big planner. So this is my number two buddy. Love it. And like I said, I won't punch anything thicker than paper through this one because I've already damaged one Happy Planner punch. Next on the list are my tweezers. I got Di onto these this year as well because she had a pair of crappy tweezers, but I love these things. Like they're reverse tweezers, so they take a little bit to get used to, but once you are, I will never go back to using regular tweezers in crafting because this is hard on the hands. And your hands get tired after a while by having to squeeze. Whereas all I have to do is squeeze once, pick up whatever I want and release, and the tweezers do all the work for me. So these are a must have if you have anything like carpal tunnel or tendonitis in your hands. These are a must have tool. I love them. I use them for everything. As you guys know, I use them all the time. Okay, next up on my list is my Cutter Bee scissors. I love these guys. I have two pairs of them because I couldn't find my original ones when I started planning. So I bought a second pair, and then of course Murphy's Law, guess what I found shortly after I bought these ones. But I like them because they're Teflon coated, so the stickers don't really stick to them, although they start to get a bit gummy and then you will find pieces stick to them. But I also really like the fact that they're precision tip. So if I need to cut around the excess white on the stickers that I generally do and I have to get into these little tiny areas, these tiny tips are perfect to get in there, and they're sharp and they will actually cut the paper instead of me having to try and fight with, the deeper into the scissors. So I love these guys. Perfect for the toolbox. Next up, I'm going to put these two together. This is a slice tool. So it has a ceramic tip, so you don't have to worry about like stabbing yourself or cutting yourself. I mean, it's a little pointy, but it's not gonna cut you if you run it across your fingertips by accident. It's great because you don't go too deep with it, and it's really good for doing finer precision work if you need to hand cut something out. So this is a great tool, but I love this guy too. This is my retractable X-Acto knife, which is good because I don't want to stab myself with one of these guys. These guys are sharp. I tend to be a little heavy-handed, so sometimes I prefer to use the slice tool, and sometimes I prefer to use these. I'm getting better, but I tend to cut through my pages on occasion, so that's where the slice tool comes in handy. Next up is my sticker squisher. I love this thing. I used to use the bone folder. And then I picked this guy up, and I will never go back to using the bone folder. Bone folders are actually used for folding paper, and I used to use this a lot in card making, which is why I have one. And then I started using it to rub the bubbles out of the stickers, the clear stickers. But this guy is far better for it because I can literally just go across it, smooth it out. It's perfect. This is actually a craft scraper, so it's meant to like lift things up, I think, but I don't use it that way. I use it as a sticker squisher. All right, next on the list is my Tombow correction tape. I love it. I used to be a Bic girl until they changed the tip, and the Tombow is the same tip that the old Bic whiteouts used to have. So I also like the fact that this is relatively close to the same color as the Happy Planner pages, because although I have to white things out or cover them up, I don't really want them to look glaringly obvious that they've been covered up. So that is why I stick with the mono correction tape from Tombow, because it's pretty much the same color as the Happy Planner pages. Next up is another Tombow product, which is my Tombow tape runner. And I love this guy. And the refills too, because really all you have to do is, it's not going to come apart, watch. There's a trick to it. And apparently I don't have it today. There we go. So these come in refill packages. So when you buy your original one, it comes as one piece. And when it runs out, you keep this piece and you replace it with one of these and you just put them back together. I don't use this guy as often as I used to because I'm not, gluing a lot of pages together, but I still use them because I use them to glue things down if I'm using scrapbook paper or whatnot, right? So love this guy. He's fantastic. Next up on the list is Undo. Now, I know not everywhere can get Undo, but if you can get your hands on some, this stuff is worth its weight in gold. This is great for removing stickers that you want to lift up and not rip your page. So you just sort of sprinkle it all over the sticker and then you scrape it up. If you put the cap back on first, but scrape it up and it'll take the sticker off without ruining the adhesive on the back side of the sticker. For the most part, I find there's a couple of stickers that I'm from different suppliers. I'm like, the Undo kind of took off the adhesive, but it doesn't happen very often. So this is a great product to have in your toolbox. Next up is another one of my favorites, which is my Uniball Signo. Now, there are other gel pens, white gel pens. The Jelly Roll is also another very popular one. I find the ink flows better out of the Uniball. I used to use the Jelly Rolls all the time. Now, I don't have any handy. Oh, I do. What people don't realize is, are these all 8s? No, they're not. There are different sizes to the Jelly Roll. When you are using it for what we use it for, which is usually covering up lines in our planner, you want the 10. If you're buying this product, you want the 10. The 8 is okay, but this will cover far better because the tip is bigger. The tip in the Uniball is very similar, if not a little bit bigger to the 10. I think that's why I like it, because the ink flows a lot easier in that than it did in the Jelly Rolls, but both are good products and they work the same. Next up is my acrylic rulers. You guys ask me about these all the time. This little one, which you probably can't see very well, this little guy here is something that came out of a geometry set years ago. I've always had him in my craft stash. He used to have numbers on him. He doesn't anymore. He's actually filthy, but I love this guy because I use it as an edge a lot when I'm cutting like the edges off stickers and stuff. This guy, my larger one, is one I picked up at Michael's, but they're available on Amazon as well. I like it because it has the numbers, but it also has all these lines on it. So I can use the lines as guides when I'm trying to draw lines, or when I am trying to cut washi and make it all the same size. So these are great tools to have in the toolbox. And the last one is, we're going to talk about my self-healing mat, which is currently my washi graveyard. This guy really doesn't want to stay down. I don't like wasting supplies. So when I cut stuff off, I usually try and find a use for it later on, especially this one, because this happens to be one of my favorite washis. So I don't really want to get rid of all the little bits and pieces because I'm running low on that washi. But I love this guy. I use him for all kinds of things, but primarily cutting a lot of washi because I like the lines. So I can line it up and then bring this ruler in and line it up on the lines, so then I can get the exact same size of washi. This one came from Daiso. So if you have a Daiso in your area, you can grab one of these. If not, they are available on Amazon. I've seen them on there. I will track one down for you guys, but those are my personal top tools from 2022 that I personally would recommend any planner have in their toolbox. Some of them are expensive, but you acquire things little bits at a time, and eventually you get everything in your toolbox you need. Most of these are fairly inexpensive. The ones that do have a price tag to them are, of course, the Happy Planner Punch and the Crocodile. But if you can get either of them on sale at Michael's with a coupon, you're not too bad, because you'll get like, 40% off on them. That's not so bad then. Okay, you guys, let me know in the comments, what's your favorite what's your favorite planning tool? I'd love to know. Thanks so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, drop us a comment down below. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the way out. If you enjoyed this video, of course, give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!